Getting ready to board the USS Midway. One big ship. Aircraft carrier built 1945. Large cruise ship over there. Just finished a little lunch here. This is the deck. You get to eat. This is actually the elevator here. A bunch of simulators here you could try out for a fee. Virtual reality. Ejection seats. Cool Corsair. Wings all folded up. A nice working replica here, or not replica, actual engine cutaway of the Pratt & Whitney R2800 Double Wasp. 18 cylinders. Excuse me, sir. Could you tell me a little bit more about this airplane? What? I have to pay extra. And I'll just read the signs.
They would give you a call that's a mandatory call. They would be saying, wave off, wave off, wave off. Which means you have to add power, you abort your landing, and go around and try again. As I said, they're there for every landing, and they grade every landing, and they keep track of that. One of these guys is writing in a book in shorthand about what your landing was like. After the whole group has landed, after the recovery is over, they'll come down to your ready room and they'll debrief you. And the more they say, the worse it is. Okay. So something like a little overshooting start, a little high, and then it'll come down to land 2-1. The grade according to the wires, you have 2. And if you do everything right, if you have minimal deviations and good corrections, you'll get the very best grade. And the very best grade you can get is okay. That's as good as it gets. Okay. We don't want anybody to get a big head here, right? Okay. This basically means you're lucky to be alive. Dangerous path. You get more than one of those. Naturally great is to give you a grade.
Yeah, that's Angel.
looking down the entire length of the carrier deck. Very short.
Well, that's an awful big place. I'm born from Atlas class nuclear carrier. So,
The USS Abraham Lincoln is right over there.
that's north of here. It's about a 45-minute drive north, right on the water. That's all our Marines up there. Seat as a check flight engineer, DC-10. Then I did 7.5, 7.6, MD-80.
I retired from American too. Aircraft maintenance, aircraft inspector.
Where were you based?
Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I worked mostly on the MD-80.
Yeah, well, that was my mate captain at the 80.
All right. Good old school airplane.
Yeah. Well, thank goodness they got the heat blanket on there.
Oh yeah.
Got to do a carrier catapult.
Good afternoon.
60% on caffeine. Okay. We're getting down a little low, but it's good enough, all right? So good afternoon. My name is Mark. I'm a retired Navy pilot. 21 years of active service, and most of that flying on and off aircraft carriers. So my talk today, 15-20 minutes long, talk a little bit about the mechanics of launching airplanes off our carrier deck with our steam catapults. Second part's going to be about the pilots. What do the pilots have to do to get safely airborne off an aircraft carrier? Sound good? Yeah. All right. Always like to start with our airplane right here, 507. This is a Navy Light Attack A-7 Corsair used by both the American Navy and the Air Force in Vietnam. More importantly though, I always like to point this out. Look at the bombs on this airplane. Bombs equal weight. And if this airplane had a full load of bombs on it, and it was going to take off from a runway ashore, it would take about 7,000 feet of runway just to get that airplane airborne. If you take a look down here on the Midway, you might notice that, well, we're just a little short of runway today. So we need our steam catapults to get our airplanes airborne. We have two catapults in the Midway, number one over there on the right side, number two over here. Let me point out something we have in a diagram here. This is actually the bow of a Nimitz class carrier. They had two steam catapults in the bow. They had two more catapults over here on the angle deck for a total of 4. Okay, twice as many as we had. Always like to point out right here, can you see all the different colored shirts everybody's wearing? On a carrier deck, that's how we determine whose job it is to do what. As a pilot, I'm looking for the guys in yellow shirts. Those are aircraft directors. They will get me out of parking today, get me taxied up here to the number 2 catapult. After I come back and land, they will get me out of the landing area, back to parking. Yellow shirts are aircraft directors. Red shirts, ordnancemen. They take care of all the bombs, missiles, and guns on the airplane. Green shirts are catapult and arresting gear crew. Get our airplane right here up to the number 2 catapult. Green shirts will be underneath, hooking the airplane up to the catapult system. White shirts are final checkers and safety guys. So color is a big deal on a carrier deck. It really helps us find the guys that we need. All right? So let's go back over here. This is the number 2 steam catapult on the Midway. Can everybody see the white painted line? Okay? Just paint, right? In reality, that would have been an open slot. But we closed it up because we were getting too much water into the catapults and into the ship. So if I could peel back the top of these steel panels here and you could look down into that catapult track, what you would see down there are 2 big cylinders, 18 inches high, 250 feet long, pointed out in that direction like a double-barrel shotgun. Inside each of those cylinders, you'd find one of those. I don't know if you can see it. That's a catapult piston, all right? So let me show you a little diagram here. There are 2 of those down there, side by side, right here. They are held together by a shuttle assembly, right here, the top of which would stick out of that open track, right there, and that's what our airplane would hook to. So this whole assembly weighs over 3 tons. Pretty heavy, right? We are a steam ship. We would take seawater purify it, heat it up with our boilers to a very hot temperature. Part of that steam would be used back there to drive the ship near the ocean. Part would make electricity for us with our steam turbine generators, and a lot of it would be right up here for our catapults. Under each catapult, you would find a big accumulator full of that very hot steam. Amber color here on the diagram actually represents live steam. So when we want to fire the catapult, open up the launch valve here, port that steam in behind the two pistons here, taking our 3 tons of metal and our airplane from 0 to 160 miles an hour, 2.5 seconds. The airplane takes off to do its mission. Back here on the Midway, though, we still have a problem. Anybody know what it is? We still got 3 tons of metal going 160 miles an hour. We have to stop it, and we have to stop it at 5 feet. The way we do that, all the way up front of the catapult is a big water break. This spear will go into that water break and stop that 3 tons of metal in that very short distance. Now, I'd like to tell everybody on the aircraft carrier knows when we fire a catapult, they know it. You know how? The entire ship shakes a little bit. If you happen to be the poor junior officer that's got his stateroom up there, guess what? You really know we just fired a catapult. Everything in your room is like jumping all over the place. I like to tell everybody, if you've ever been in the Navy, we all learned this, given enough time, you will learn to sleep through everything, anything. We all had to do that. Really did. So let's put this in action now. There's our accumulator for that steam. This is the F-18 Hornet getting ready to go. All of our jets have to go to max power before we fire the catapult. He's going to go right here. Open up the launch valve. Off he goes to do his mission. Water brake worked just like it should. We have to get that assembly back for the next airplane. So this is called the grab. We send the grab up to grab onto it, bring it back for the next airplane. Our goal when we're launching on a single cat is to launch an airplane every 90 seconds. Boy, that is really, really fast. It takes a lot of training for the deck crew and the air crew to get up to that high level of proficiency. On the Midway, 2 catapults, so when we're launching every 45 seconds, somebody should be going off the pointy end of the ship. So let's talk about our pilots. What do our pilots have to do to get safely launched off the carrier? The way I like to do this is have all of you imagine today, you are going to be the pilot of 507 here. All right? You're going to start your morning probably down in the ready room. You're going to brief your mission, probably with your wingman. There'll be 2 of you flying today. After you're done briefing, you go next door to maintenance control and get the logbook for 507. You look at the logbook, what's been worked on, what's been fixed on the airplane, and how much is the airplane weighted at? How much fuel do I have on the airplane, and how much ordnance do I have? Pilot has to add all that up and come up with a gross weight. Today you figured out you weigh 38,000 pounds. Now you want to remember that because you're going to come up here now and go into flight deck control, which is over at the base of the island, fill out a weight sheet for your event, 507, 38,000 pounds. Now you're going to head out on the flight deck and try to find your airplane. You do that, do a pre-flight, walking around the airplane, checking out everything to make sure it's okay, climb into the cockpit, do a few cockpit checks, and now the guy in charge of the flight deck, the air boss up in the tower, he's going to come out over the radio and he's going to tell everybody, start your engines. That's exactly what you're going to do. A few more checks after you've done that, and remember that yellow shirt now? Aircraft director. Now he's coming up to the airplane here and he's giving you, the pilot, a bunch of hand signals. Why is he doing that? Why is he giving you hand signals? 12, 14 jets up here, all those engines turning. Nobody's going to hear anything, right? So on the flight deck, we communicate with hand signals. All hand signals above the waist, that's for the pilot. All hand signals below the waist, that is for the deck crew. So he goes, hey, Mr. Pilot, are you ready to go? You tell him, I'm ready to go. He goes like this, and he's signaling blue shirts onto the airplane to take all the chains off the airplane. Now, if you can see it, we have to chain all of our aircraft to the deck for obvious reasons, right?
Yeah.
Out in the middle of the ocean. Blue shirts leave, and now he gives you a hand signal saying, release your brakes. Start taxiing forward. turn your airplane, and today you'll get passed from yellow shirt director to yellow shirt director until you're right up here in front of the number 2 steam catapult. When your tail of your airplane passes that silver rectangle back there with a yellow line around it, that is called the jet blast deflector. Its operator is going to raise that up to a 65-degree angle. It's very important. Here it is coming up right there. It is water cooled, and remember, all of our jets got to go to max power, right? You got to take that hot blast of jet exhaust up and over all the people and equipment back there. We're going to hurt somebody. Next thing you're going to see is, Mr. Pilot, hold your brakes. Spread your wings. Oh, wait a minute, spread your wings? What's that all about? All Navy carrier airplanes must have foldable wings. For us, it's a real estate problem. We just don't have enough room up here for a bunch of straight wing airplanes. So spread your wings, lock your wings, set your takeoff flaps, put your hands in the air. It's not a holdup. They want the pilot's hands in the air now because they don't want them touching any switches because of this. All of your ordnance have red safety flags on them. They are attached to safety pins. They have to be removed by the red shirt ordnanceman. The pilot knows how many pins he should see. They're going to hold up. He's going to count. He knows all the pins have been removed. That does not arm the ordnance, though. That does allow the pilot, in an emergency, let's say this aircraft right here has engine trouble off the catapult. Pilot's got the option of hitting a switch in the cockpit and dumping all that ordnance into the ocean, and maybe he can fly that airplane out of that emergency. Normally, we arm the ordnance out on the mission somewhere. Next thing that's going to happen is your director is right in front of your airplane, straddling the catapult track here, giving you very precise taxi instructions. We have to get this aircraft lined up exactly on the catapult, and here's what he's trying to do. He wants to get the launch bar here, which is part of the airplane, down and in front of the shuttle, which is part of the catapult. It is the connection of the two of those, when we fire the catapult, that's going to take you for your ride today. One last thing we have to do, remember now, the pilot's got to go to max power, right? Anybody think our pilot here could keep this airplane in position just using brakes at max power? Can't do it. We got to help him. This is how we help him. This is called the holdback bar. This end goes into the deck of the carrier. This end has got a little fitting in it called the dog bone. Part of it goes into the holdback. The other part goes into a fitting behind the nose gear. So this is what they look like before we fire the catapult. These are usually engineered for each type of airplane. We color code them so we can't mix them up. After we fire the catapult, they look a little different. So they look like this. So they were meant to fail. They were just there to keep you in position at max power. When we fire the catapult, this part goes flying with you. This part stayed back here in the ship. Now at this point, young man in a green shirt here, right there, coming up to the airplane, he's got a board in his hand and he's showing you, the pilot, the board. Here's what he's showing you today. What was that? That's your gross weight, right? You want to say, hey, Mr. Pilot, is this still a good weight for you? Maybe you were back there with those engines turning for 15 minutes, you're lighter. Maybe they got it wrong. Pilot's got 3 options. Good weight, lower the weight, raise the weight. Today, good weight, thumbs up. He's going to return your thumbs up and he will take this weight forward and go over to a center deck operator sitting right between the 2 catapults. Here he is right here. We're going to show that young man this weight. He knows this is an A7 Corsair. He has a launch bulletin right here for that airplane. He'll look at the window over the deck and he will come up with a catapult setting here that will get you safely launched today at your gross weight, giving you at least 10 knots of excess airspeed at the end of the catapult stroke. So do we think weight is a big deal on a carrier deck? Very big deal, especially for the pilot, right? So we're going to get a couple airplanes lined up here. E2C Hawkeye, that was my airplane, getting lined up in the catapult. This is an F-18 Hornet. This is the launch bar on the airplane. There's the holdback. There's the shuttle. We've stopped him short just for a minute Red shirt ordnanceman is going to come over and push the button in that airplane. What he's doing is he's arming the Gatling gun on the airplane. He's going to leave. Here comes the catapult crewman coming back, and he's going to signal your director. Taxi the airplane forward. A little bit. Taxi him forward. Got to get that launch bar in front of that shuttle, just like that. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a gap between the two. We can't fire the catapult with that gap in it. We're going to break a whole lot of stuff. We got to get that gap out. So the signal that he just gave before he left was this. That is called the tension signal. Young man over there in the green shirt got his hands up. I don't know if you can see him. Going to push a button. It's called the tension button. That will hydraulically take all that slack out of the system. And a pilot's going to feel that. The airplane's going to shake a little bit. And the pilot's going to know, we're getting really close to going flying here today. Next thing he has to do, and it's very important, the pilot has to take his feet off the brakes. Anybody think having the brakes on for the catapult shot going to slow you up at all? Not even close. It will give you 2 flat tires though. Okay? And I want to tell everybody, I never did that, okay? Do we all agree I never did that? Okay, we're moving on. Oh, let's go back. Come on, back. There we go. All right, so this is an A6 intruder. We're going to get the launch bar down, and then we're going to come in with that holdback bar. You'll see the fitting here in a minute. All right, right there is where it goes. Now this is an F-18 getting ready to go. When he goes into tension, you'll see this bar pop up a little, and that's what the pilot's going to feel. Right there. And what's the pilot going to do next? Feet off the brakes, right? Okay, at this point, your director... Oops, got a little too far. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Your director right here is going to pass control from himself to that guy right there, yellow shirt, big number 2 on it. He is the catapult officer. He's a pilot, and his job, he's doing 2 years of shipboard duty. His job is to make sure you get safely launched today. He's going to come up to the airplane here, and he's going to say, Mr. Pilot, start running those engines up to max power. As a pilot, that's exactly what you're going to do. Run those throttles all the way up full. For you, the pilot, this is probably the last chance you get to decide, do I really want to go flying today? You're checking your engine instruments to make sure they're good. All right, no warning lights are lit up. You're going to check your controls to make sure they're free and easy. If you have a problem with your airplane right about now, this would be a very bad time for you to scratch your nose or adjust your visor. You know why? If the cat officer thinks you just saluted them, you and your problem are going to go flying, and that's a bad thing. So if you have a problem with the airplane, you want to keep your hands down, shake your head, big exaggerated no, and call out over the radio today, suspend Cat 2, suspend Cat 2. But today you want to go flying. Turn around, you salute the cat officer, he's going to return your salute, and now he is looking for 3 things. He is looking around your airplane here for young men in white shirts. They're all kneeling down. They're called final checkers. They're looking at your airplane to make sure all the panels are closed on the airplane, no leaks on the airplane, and the airplane is properly configured for launch today. If everything is good, we should see a whole bunch of these. Number 2, he's going to come over here and make sure that this setting for your gross weight today is correct. And number 3, he's actually going to look down the catapult track here and make sure it's clear. Believe it or not, every once in a while on the carrier, we have people working below deck that don't realize we're launching airplanes right now. It might sound like this. Hey, George, you want to go up the flight deck and get some sun? Oh, great idea. Let's do that. They come up in the middle of the launch. We call them gophers. We get gophers popping up in the middle of the launch. The guy in charge up there, the air boss, is going to come out over the radio with a whole lot of bad words. If those gophers are smart, they will disappear very, very fast. One last thing that our cat officer might be looking at. We're on an aircraft carrier in the middle of the ocean. If the seas are rough, what's the front of this ship doing? Well, this, right? As pilot, Where do you want to go off the front end? You want to see blue sky, not blue water. So there's a timing issue there for the counselor to make sure when you get to the end of the stroke, you're a happy pilot. If everything is good, he'll kneel down, touch the deck and point like he's doing right there. Our deck edge operator will hit the fire button. In the cockpit, you get to go 1 potato, 2 potato. You're off on that double E-ticket ride, 0 to 160 miles an hour, 2.5 seconds. It's a fun ride. It's about a 4G shot. Oh, and if you forgot to put your head back against the headrest, don't worry. That's exactly where it's going to end up, and you're going to know it. Okay? Mine still hurts a little bit. All right, here we go. We're going to launch some F-18s. This is actually not a lot for the pilot to do on the catapult. We earn our paycheck at the other end. It is a fun ride, though, during the day, not at the night. We got about 1,300 of these. There's our checks. We call the counselor the shooter. Here we go. 1 potato, 2 potato. Boom, off on that ride. Now when he gets airborne, right there at the end, if he's launching off the front of the carrier on our Wildcats, the pilot's going to drop his right wing down low, come out to the right, carrier heading. He's launching off the Wastecats, the left wing comes down, goes out to the left, carrier heading. That is called a clearing turn. We do that for a very important reason. Let's say off the end of the cat, you have an emergency. You have to eject, or the airplane goes in the water. I think you all agree, you're having a bad day. You don't want the carrier running over the top of you, right? You want to be off on the sides. So that's what the clearing turn's from. A couple guys have had to do that, and that is a long time to hold your breath. What's in the back of the ship? Big screws, right? So here we go. I'm not sure what he's doing. Some people think he's trying out for Dancing with the Stars. I think he's been at sea a little too long, but if he gets that salute, he's all business. Boom! There he goes. It is a fun ride. Watch the head on the pilot here as he launches.
Oh, yeah.
Bang! That's the end of the catapult stroke, that acceleration, and now he's flying. That's my talk. Questions?
It's really 4 Gs.
4 Gs, yeah. Any questions? I put you guys to sleep. No questions? No?
No, you were very good.
Okay,
Yes,
so
great presentation. Thank
if
you.
you have not done the island tour, our big structure up here is the island. It's an excellent tour, very popular. Dawson will take you through the tower, Charthouse and Captain's Bridge. Nobody's in line right now. Okay? You guys have a great Navy day.
Thank you.
Cleared for takeoff. So there's the blast fence there that's flush with the deck. That goes up. And right here's the catapult. So that's not very long there. So right where the airplane is, gets catapulted, and if you could see those signs way up front there, that's the end of the deck. I'm walking the full length of this takeoff portion of the deck. And right where those guys are standing, that's the end right there. Well, now I'm looking back at the airplane right there. There's the island. It's hard to see with downtown San Diego buildings back there. Very short. A little bit better view of the USS Abraham Lincoln there. This is the front of the ship right here. See the control tower of San Diego International Airport right there. See a DHL aircraft out there. Alaska Airlines taking off there. Delta coming in. Like the docent said, this is the other catapult here. There's a good view of downtown San Diego right there. Well, I better go check on the truck as far as the paid parking there. Don't want to get towed away. So I hope you enjoyed this little tour of the USS Midway. We'll see you down the road.